Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brighton Area Schools Board of Education meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Ackerline, roll call.
Mr. Conley?
Here.
Ms. Reed?
Here.
Mr. Trombley?
Here.
Mrs. Mitchell? Here. Dr. Krebs? Here. Mr. Stahl? Mr. Meyer?
Here. All right, that takes us to the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion? Moved by Dr. Krebs, supported by Mr. Stahl. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any nays? That passes 7-0. That moves us to the superintendent report. Dr. Outlaw.
All right. So welcome, everybody. Thrilled to have everybody here tonight. I'm going to step in for Mr. Thompson. He's at a conference right now. So I'm going to start off by inviting our girls swim coach up front to announce the first set of shining stars.
They're going to come up too.
Yes. Yes.
You will follow me and you will shake their hands. Hello, thank you for having us. And again, thank you for all your support and everything that we do, especially with all of athletics. I actually wanted to start out by saying it's so much fun coming to these meetings with Christy and Chris, because cross country is always here. And I know how hard they work, and it's awesome with Paul and the golfers because they did awesome. And I know that Lemons would love to be here too, but our team sports do great too. And it's just great being a part of this department and working beside these coaches. These 7 girls represented our state team this year, or 6 girls represented our state team this year. I hate saying it, but it's awesome because it's kind of the same thing. We finished in the top 10 again for the 9th year in a row. We finished 6th, 2 points out of 4th place. 12th time in the last 15 years we've been in the top 10. Finished with 11 wins, 2 losses. We were second in division, second at the conference meet. We had 10 athletes on our roster of 29 that had a 4-point or better. We had 14 swimmers out of 24 that combined for 61 MISCA cuts, which is kind of like the second tier state meet. And 7 girls, 6 of them are here with 23 state cuts, which was awesome. Our state team GPA was a 3.93. So not only do they get it done in the pool, but they get it done in the classroom as well. Just amazing. Again, this team's been awesome. 6th place, all 3 of our relays were all state again, just like last year. It means they were top 8 in the state for the 2nd year in a row. And this squad had the 4th highest amount of points we've ever scored at a state meet in school history. So the girls got it done again. Individually, I'll start with our freshman who's not here, but it's Josie Libler, who was all-state in one event and scored in her 2nd event in the 100 backstroke as a freshman. That was kind of awesome. Move on to the sophomores. Grace represented us in the IM and was 20th. Ola represented us in the IM, and she was 9th place, standing on top of the podium in the console heat, and 11th place in the breaststroke. Going to our Millie got to the state meet. It was kind of awesome watching her get her cup, but she was 18th in the 500. Sage, our junior, was 21st in the 50 freestyle, 20th in the 100 freestyle. And then our 2 seniors, one of them is graduating this month, and she'll be representing Brigham Young University this January. She'll be swimming for them. So that's awesome. And on her way to that school, she has set 2 school records and in the 200 freestyle and the 500 freestyle. Both those times were fourth place. And she's runner-up in the 500, fourth place in the 200. Both of those times were All-American consideration times. So if she is in the top 100, she'll be an All-American. And then Annika, who will stay with us this year, she'll graduate in June, is going to go swim at Northern Michigan next year. And she was 11th in her 200 and 9th in her 500. And then a combination of the girls were all part of our all-state relays. But once again, our girls did awesome this year. So thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Great job. Congratulations. Great job.
Okay, well, congratulations to our girls swim program. Next up, I'm going to bring forward Coach Christy Matuszewski to talk about the girls cross country team and their amazing season.
Come closer this way. I know. There you go.
All right. Thank you so much, board, for having us. And like Jason said, we're among some great coaches here tonight, Jason, Paul, and Chris. And I'm excited to tell you about our season this year. We had 52 girls on our team this year, and that's a large squad, but what was more impressive is the commitment we had from all summer. We had, 40 to 45 girls throughout the summer, and most of them train actually all year. Our mantra this year was all in, and it really was personified, like how we trained, how we went home and did all the extras that need to be done, the stretching, the nutrition, the sleep, everything that goes into being the best athletes that we can be. And, having that many girls, you'd think you'd get a little bit of, up and down, some groups doing well, some groups not. Our whole team did well throughout the whole season. All 52 of our girls were scholar athletes this quarter, which is so impressive. In our invitationals, we won 3 of our varsity invitationals. We won 4 of our JV invitationals. We won all of our dual meets, making us the KLAA West Division champs. We won the KLAA conference meet. We were 8th. This is the 8th time we've won the KLAA out of 15 years. We had all 5 of you were all conference. Is that right? I didn't write that down. 6? Okay. Anyway, everybody that scored was all conference. We had 3 girls that were all region. We won the region. It's the 26th time out of 45 years that Brighton's had cross country that we won the region. It was our 17th straight ticket to the state meet. We went to the state meet. Brighton has 42 out of the 45 years. So they're just continuing this legacy that is Brighton girls cross country. We ended up 5th in the state. Honestly, just a couple points out of 3rd. It's the 16th time that we've been in the top 5. So remarkable group. We bring, I have 12, well, 11 of them here, but 12 went to the state meet, 7 of them race. Generally don't take this many alternates, but we were so deep with talent this year and only graduated a couple of them. And the finishing the state, Lydia Lamara, she was 41st. Kerrigan Eberly, she was 46th. Megan Kowalski, she was 75th. Nikki Crothers was 84th. Juliet Lewis was 104th. Elle Bissett was 179th. And Gabrielle Blytho was 222nd. And then our alternates were Amelia Cashian, Stella Farmer, Courtney Lintz, Selena White, and Maisie Kavanaugh. So, Brighton Girls Cross Country.
I got that. Good job. That's all right. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations, Meg. Yeah, congratulations.
All right, next up, I'm going to call forward Coach Chris Elsey and the boys cross country team.
Okay, first, thank you, the board, for recognizing these great athletes and for all your support with Brighton Athletics. All the coaches have touched on, we have a phenomenal program, athletic program in this district. So, and continue to support us, and we thank you. This season, these guys had a great season. Our expectations are so high that Bill Kahn had mentioned in his article, Brighton team, boys team finishes higher than their ranking, but still unsatisfied. These kids put in so much work and so much effort that anytime they're not on top, it's like, oh, okay, well, let's refocus. Let's get after it again. So they're hard at work this winter. All these guys, we had a couple of winter sport athletes, but everyone else, they're back training, ready to get after it. And like Chris had touched on, the amount of work that's required to be at the top level in cross country in particular, and I'm sure in swim and in golf and all the other sports, it's a tremendous commitment. These kids do an excellent job of balancing academics with that athletic commitment. As a team at the state meet, our team academic all state, we finished with a 3.753 GPA. And I think we had 32 scholar athletes and approximately 28 out of our 40 that were scholar medal winners with a 3.5 or above. Competitively this season, we finished 6-1 in the KLA in dual meets, finished second in the KLA conference meet, finished second at our regional meet, and we finished third in the state meet. At the state meet, there's 27 teams competing, and to finish third is a tremendous accomplishment. We've been fortunate to have in our history 4 state titles. This third place, if you take away those 4 state titles, this third place ties the best finish that Brighton has ever had, Brighton boys cross country has ever had. So they continue to work hard. Individually, Tyler Langley was all state, finishing 24th. 26, something right around there, mid-20s. But again, these kids are committed. They're doing great in ski. They're doing great in the pool. And if they're not in those winter sports, they're getting ready to run fast on the track this spring. So great job, guys. Good job. All me.
Great job. That's all right. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, our next team up, I'm going to invite forward Coach Paul Parcells to talk about our girls golf team.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Outlaw and board. Appreciate it, and everybody who's shown up today. Been a great team this year, probably one of our best teams overall here at Brighton since I've been here. We were only beat by 2 teams all year. We had, we were runner-up in our conference. We went undefeated in our dual matches, also bringing home the division championship. We won our regional this year. We were runner-up at the state, so came in second at states. Our academic, we had an academic all-state team as well, which was an average of 3.6 for our entire team. Some individual accomplishments. We had Lauren Forcier right here, our only all-state player, and she was also the player of the year for the county. Our whole entire team actually was all county first team. Maddie and Amelia were all-state honorable mention as well. And some of the best information is we only lose one player this next year, Miss Amelia, which is going to continue on at Loyola Chicago playing golf, a Division I school, and getting a scholarship, though it's great news for her and our team and our program. And we look forward to coming back next year because we're only losing one. So hopefully we'll be back. Thanks.
Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Great job. Okay, and on behalf of Mr. Thompson, I want to just congratulate all of our fall athletes. It was a great season. Our equestrian program continues to grow and it improves steadily. With they had 6 new members this year. Our football team went 8-1 in the regular season, which was fantastic. Boys soccer team went 7-4 this season. Boys tennis was 7-6. Volleyball was KLA match record of 7-5, and 76% of all of our high school athletes this fall were scholar athletes with 3.0 or above. So congratulations. Great job. Keep working hard, and good luck to you in the future, and good luck to all of our winter athletes as well. So thank you all. Appreciate it. Okay, our athletes can depart if you want, or you can hang out. It's up to you, but thank you. Well, how about we just hang tight for a second here? Congratulations. Clear it out a little bit here.
Did I not have any at your table? No. I was wondering. I thought maybe he's thirsty.
I appreciate it. Got them all stacked up to equal one full one.
And neither one of the students.
No. Okay, so let's go ahead and we have one more shining star. So I'm gonna turn it over to President Meyer here to talk about our next 2 shining stars.
All right, well, thank you, Dr. Outlaw. Our next 2 Shining Star recipients are none other than our esteemed colleagues, Laura Mitchell, Ken Stahl. It's a bittersweet evening, at least for me personally, that this is going to be your last meeting tonight as a board member. And in recognition of that, we wanted to bestow upon you the shiniest of stars. And for what you have had to endure in the last 3 years that really no one ever anticipated that a school board would have to make in terms of the level of dedication and time and sacrifice for your families, and the tremendous amount of time and energy and emotions that were required of this job. You really should have gotten like a shining planet or shining universe. But I just want to say thank you to both of you. Obviously, Ken, is it 8 years for you? I appreciate, you've really been kind of a stabilizing force throughout the 8 years on the board. From my perspective, both prior to being a board member as a parent of the district, and then being up here with you on the board, you poured your heart and soul into making this district a better place, whether it be championing 2 bonds that resulted in $150 million worth of improvements to our district, and I know that was something very near and dear to your heart, and may not have been able to have been successful without your efforts, and then obviously having gone through all of the things that we collectively went through in the past 3 years, not only dealing with all of the COVID challenges and the unforeseen circumstances that seem to arise on almost a daily basis, but then of course then the transition with the new leadership with Dr. Outlaw, and being part of that important process in ultimately hiring Dr. Outlaw to be our new leader for the foreseeable future. Laura, I've known you as a colleague because of being a lawyer, and I look forward to still seeing you in the courthouse occasionally. But it's truly been an honor for me personally to also work with you in this capacity. Your leadership skills and Ken's leadership skills really, they were very impactful in this district. It was really instrumental for both of you being in the positions that you were in that enabled our district really to not only survive the pandemic, but when you look at even the test scores that we've seen post-pandemic versus pre-pandemic, your leadership and the guidance of this district really enabled us to not only survive, but actually thrive. And I mean, I can't say enough about, how important that is. Not only as a fellow board member, but as a parent and a member of this community, that our district was able to achieve that through incredibly difficult circumstances. And it really is a testament to, the leadership that you guys brought to this board, and the dedication that you had to not only all of our students, but to all the families and the community at large. So I want to just personally thank you. It's truly been my pleasure and honor to be a fellow board member with you, and certainly going to miss you. So thank you. And I'll open up to anyone else that would like to make any comments.
I don't know that I can say it any better than you just did, Roger, but I do want to take a moment to thank both of you for pouring your heart and your soul into this job, the biggest volunteer job that most of us have ever had. And I appreciate the sincerity and the dedication that each of you brought to this table every meeting, and for all of the work that goes in between. Thank you so much.
I'd like to, I guess this would be third, what Roger and Alicia have said, that I appreciate the time with both of you. We know we were chatting a lot, and it was just really nice to have both of you around for your leadership and support. Thank you.
Well, I didn't agree with the first bond, but you were right. So I'm humbled on that one. And then most people know, though, that you introduced me to Dan Delisle one night here in the boardroom and got us started in robotics. And it was really the beginning of a world championship team in that introduction. And so it takes everybody in their capacities at different times. And all you said is you might want to meet this guy. I remember your quote. I said, well, who is he? Well, his name's Dan. And that did launch our robotics team to a classroom at General Motors at the Proving Grounds, and 4 years of intense instruction. And so I think if we can remember that, you might want to say hello, mention that Ken made. I sincerely say that made a huge impact for students for a long term. That without that relationship starting it, we would be in a different position. Still probably good, but not anywhere near where we're at today. So there you go. Individuals make a big difference. So thanks for your help. I'm sorry I was so against you in the first bond, but yeah. Well, I mean, you guys all worked on it, you and Bill and the team. And at the end of the day, you were right, but it had to be organized right and spent right, because the history in it wasn't there to you guys, but you did see it get done, and the money got where it was supposed to go. So thanks for doing it.
All right, so you know the drill. You have to make the trip. You can't get away with that. Ladies first.
It's like the gauntlet here.
Are you ready?
Oh, absolutely. Come on.
Autograph them or something? Put smiley faces on
You
there.
should, yeah.
Put smiley faces.
Don't you do that?
You should put smiley faces on there, shining stars or
Done.
something.
Very
You're welcome.
Gonna miss you. Thank you, Ken. We'll miss you. Good break. We'll see you soon. Okay.
You're not leaving, are you, Ken? Walking right out the
I
door.
know, he's like, let's keep on going.
To leave after this.
I'm out of here. My job here is done.
All right. So I noticed our student reps aren't here this evening, so we're not going to have a student report here today. But I did also want to mention that we had gift bags up here for Board Appreciation Month. That is officially in the month of January, but we do it here in December because this is the current board that's been working for the last 2 years. So just on behalf of the administration, I just want to thank the entire board for everything that you do. It's a thankless job. It is an important job. We greatly appreciate the partnership with all of you and look forward to many great years ahead. So thank you for everything that you do for us and for the school district. And then finally, had a request just for an update on some of the security efforts across the district. So I just thought I'd mention a few things here. As we know, obviously everybody at this table knows and then the community knows that we've made security a very high priority across the district, and it's really been a team approach. We've had our police liaisons, Officer Bell, who's here this evening, and Deputy Schuster at Scranton, and Officer Mike Mitchell. The three of them have been kind of the captains of our security team, and we've reviewed everything from our procedures, plans, response plans, threat assessments. We have conducted all kinds of drills. This year, one of the types of drills I wanted to mention to you is that we've shifted to a type of drill called a tabletop drill, where it's built around scenarios, where we had all the administrators in this room, about a month and a half ago, I believe, and they came in and they created scenarios for us. And we had the emergency manager from the county that came in and conducted that drill with fire and police, and we walked through that, and we were I think we were pleasantly surprised that we were ahead of the game. Probably we were doing really well, but there's some gaps, and we're going to continue to fill those gaps. So I'm really thankful for the team that we have working on this. I know our officers also went to some of the statewide trainings, and we had some of our principals that went there as well. So I really feel like we're getting some great advice from across the state, great collaboration, and there's a lot of proactive efforts that are going on. The other piece that I wanted to mention is I wanted to say thank you to the board for the support with the officers in all of our buildings. We have an officer in every building now. And at the high school, we have we have two officers. We have our police liaison, as well as one of the contracted officers in that building. And anybody that's been in those buildings can see that those people our officers are becoming part of those schools. The kids enjoy them. They love them. They walk by and you can see the little drawings and pictures that the kids are putting on their desk. The kids love having them there. The staff has talked about how comfortable they feel having those officers in the building and knowing that they have somebody there to be able to help out the administration and others to help keep everybody safe. And then we could talk about a number of times where the officers have already made a difference. Our buildings are very safe, but just to give you an example, is we forget that our officers are also trained in first aid and response for medical emergencies. And we had a medical emergency in one of our buildings just a couple of weeks ago, and our officer was right there able to immediately respond and make a difference. So having the officers in the buildings has been fantastic. And I'm just very thankful for your support for that. So with security in mind, what questions do you have for me? Okay. anything comes up, just let me know. Just know that we are, what's the term? We're not letting the grass grow up under our feet. We're being really aggressive on this. Officer Bell and Deputy Schuster are looking for the most cutting edge things. They're at all those trainings because these things continue to evolve. And again, we just have to keep this a top priority across the district, and appreciate all of your support. So that's it for my reports.
Okay.
Thank
for
you.
that update, Dr. Outlaw.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
All right, that moves us to the next portion of our agenda, which is the call to the public. If there's anyone here this evening that would like to address the board, this is your opportunity to do so. We have cards at the back of the back of the room. We'd ask you to fill it out, put it in the box, and I will call your name. Are there any cards? No cards? All right. Last chance. Anyone wants to address the board? Seeing none?
Maybe you want to add something to the lunch program?
No petitions or
All right, seeing none, that closes the call to the public and moves us into the for action portion of our agenda. Item A, regular meeting minutes of November 14, 2022. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Stahl. Support. Supported by Ms. Mitchell. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any nays? That passes 7-0. That moves us to item B, human resources report. Mr. Scaling.
Yes, we have a human resource report is presented for your review and consideration. We have one resignation and one recommendation for hire. We are excited to present Olivia Chandler, who is here with us this evening, for an special education position at Scranton. Olivia completed her both student teaching assignments with us, one in the spring, finished up one in the fall, and she will be completing all certification requirements in the coming days and weeks. Olivia has fulfilled other roles for Brighton area schools, such as substitute teaching, summer school assistant teacher, and as you saw, she's our assistant women's cross country team coach at Brighton High School. We ask that you approve the human resource report as presented.
All right, we have a motion to approve the human resources report. Moved by Mr. Stahl, supported by Dr. Krebs. Any discussion? All right, well, welcome and formally welcome. You've been here. We appreciate all that you've done, thus far, and look forward to a long and successful career here at Brighton Area Schools. All right, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any nays? That passes 7-0. That moves us to item C, the call for the January 2023 organizational meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Reed. Supported by Dr. Krebs. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any nays? That passes 7-0. Item D, the field usage fees. Dr. Outlaw.
Yeah, so we had a work session on that this fall, and at the last meeting was for future action. If there are any other questions that you may have, we're available to answer those.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the field usage fee schedule?
So moved.
Support. Moved by Ms. Reed, supported by Dr. Krebs. Any discussion? Mr. Trombley.
In looking through the fees, I see it, I understand the reason, but again, I'm still struggling with the fact that we're charging people who still pay and support our bonds and pay additional taxes to support our bonds, and then they're the ones also being charged to be able to use the facilities. It's kind of like the parents whose kids plays football or in the band at the games, they still have to pay to come in. They're there to see their kids. What a shame. I don't know. It's hard for me to understand that. And I think we need to come up with a better system somewhere down the road. So.
Any further discussion? Mr. Conley.
Kind of parallel to that, but I'm not a big supporter of fees in a $100 million budget that we charge the taxpayers an additional $50,000. I think it's nickel and diming them. I don't have a problem charging out of area groups. I don't have a problem charging a cleaning fee. I don't have a problem with that kind of stuff. But so I'm not supporting a fee chart. So thank you.
Any further discussion? Ms. Reed?
Yeah. I have to respectfully disagree. I think it's important that the fees be moderate in respect for the local community folks that are going to use the facilities that they helped build. But the maintenance of those facilities comes out of our general fund. And these fees, while they may be small, they do help to defray the cost of keeping those facilities open during the hours that our community will use them as opposed to our students. And that helps to ensure that we can keep those facilities in working order for our students for their main purpose, as well as supporting our community. And I do think that it's important that those of us that use those facilities outside of classroom activities are helping to support the maintenance of them. So I support charging fees for the use of those facilities.
But correct me if I'm wrong, if the pool's there, the pool costs us money just to keep it there anyways, right?
Certainly, but we don't have to pay a lifeguard to be there if there's no one using it.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that. But that's a very small amount
Very true,
compared to the overall cost of things.
very true.
So,
Mr. Conley?
So in, in this economy and in this neighborhood here in Brighton that paid for all these facilities, and I heard 150 million bucks they shelled out, give or take, plus the annual taxes in the city of Brighton at the mills that they're paying. And I don't know if it's 30. What's city of Brighton right now? It's huge. It's way up there. So to have a house in the city, you're paying just huge taxes in Brighton City. And I suggest the other. I suggest they're already paying all the fees. And most of the people don't use the facilities, but yet they're paying for them. And I don't know the exact percentage, but I'm going to just guess it somewhere at 90+% of everybody's taxes on their homes go towards the schools. And a lot of them don't have students in the schools. So, you know, that's a tough one. It coughed up 150 million, and now we're worried about 50,000. So that's just my opinion on it. I don't have a problem though. Like I said, I understand we have to charge for people that use things and wear and tear on fields and all that stuff. But Selcra has had to pay and hasn't paid, I understand, maybe in some case here. But those fields are paid for by the taxpayers in each community, and most of them belong to Brighton schools as well. So I think it should be as many people as you can get to use them as possible, and have a bunch of baseball games this summer. So thanks.
Mr. Stahl?
Piggyback on the opposite of what John just said, only because we chose to come to Brighton because of the school district.
It doesn't surprise me.
We were pleasantly surprised to find out that it was also one of the lowest taxed counties in the state. I had no idea. I told my wife, run and pay that bill before they figure out they made a mistake. And turned out it wasn't a mistake. So, you know, and I've had kids in another district where we paid twice as much in the school tax, and we paid twice as much for fees. So I guess it's all in where you're coming from and what your experience has been, but I can't believe the quality of education and sports academics that we have here. And I think it's a hell of a deal, actually. So paying a few bucks to use the facilities, again, it doesn't bother me.
So you're saying then that a resident in that district that you're referring to pays $300 to swim in the pool?
To swim in the pool?
Yeah.
Who's gonna pay $300?
I don't know, because you just said it's double.
You're talking
We're
about
charging-
for a full year?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
paying
that-
150.
That wouldn't be
No,
uncommon.
Taxes in general were double for the school.
Not the fee. I thought you said fees.
No, not fees. No, my tax.
Got it. Okay. Sorry.
And, you know, let's not forget too, our houses are very desirable. They stay on the market for about, I think we're still on the 3 to 4 days, maybe a week time. And it's because of the school district. You know, your house value is extremely important to you, especially if that's going to be one of your major investments in your retirement. And because of our school districts, in my opinion, that's why we're there.
I got a few.
Yes, you do.
Anything further? I guess just from my perspective, I mean, I agree in terms of the concept of the residents having paid for the facilities through the bond, and how should that be accounted for? I think from my perspective, when you look at the overall schedule, really what we're talking about is the pool. That's the one where you have these, a lot of these fees for individual use. Because if you look at our district and a lot of the facilities that have been paid for through the bond, they're readily accessible at any given time by anyone in the public. I mean, the tennis courts, unless there's some sort of an event happening, the public can use the tennis courts. The practice field behind the tennis courts, the all turf field, that's accessible at any point in time by any of our residents. The baseball fields, I mean, there's a lot of our facilities are available, right? I mean, they're available really at any point in time. What the point that was raised with respect to charging a fee for the residents that have paid for this through the bond, it's really the pool. I mean, that's the one that is where these fees really come into play. And obviously, the pool presents some unique, expenses and aspects that I think justify having a moderate fee charged. And I am also encouraged by the fact that there is a differentiation of the fee between Brighton resident and a non-Brighton resident. So they're getting the Brighton residents get the benefit of a lower fee for the use of the pool. So I'm fine with, I understand the concern that was raised, and I certainly am receptive to that. But I think this schedule overall does really a good balance of the competing interests and how they should be reconciled in whatever charges are applicable to the various facilities. So with that said, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any nays?
Nay.
That passes. Bill, were you nay? Okay, that passes 6-1. All right, that closes the for action portion of our agenda and moves us into our for future action portion. Item A, new courses for 2023-2024. Dr. Mosher, is that you?
Yes.
All right.
So we have several new courses that we're looking to propose for your consideration for the next board meeting. We can answer some questions, or if there's more, we can bring those answers to you. We have an advanced graphics and signage course. That would be more like I'll call it more like an internship, students who are helping with other jobs that need to be done throughout the district or outside district and helping with that. We don't have independent study per se, but students would be interested in that. Yes.
I couldn't see, is there a prerequisite for that course? Or, I mean, 'cause it's advanced, so are they taking a?
There would be a prerequisite. They'd have to have the graphics course beforehand. That course and the other one, there's a couple things we're working on prerequisites because we want to make sure it's open to enough students and that students would be able to take it, but I can double check that one for you.
I just didn't see it in there.
Yeah, for sure. I'll make sure I have that answer. AP Pre-Calc would actually be taking the course in place of our current pre-calculus course. AP has brought out AP Pre-Calc, and so we'd like to get on that bandwagon, and we would be switching over our regular Pre-Calc to AP Pre-Calc. The next two, sure, yeah.
Just in terms of textbooks, and would it be the course
Same
would
one
be
they're
the
currently
same,
using.
the same
Yep.
textbook? Because the AP curriculum is they determine the curriculum, right?
So they have the curriculum set, and then they have certain textbooks that have already been approved through their system, but we're already using the textbook. So I already asked them. So they're actually basically probably teaching
They've
more of
already
an
been
AP
teaching it.
Pre-Calc. We're just going to move over to their curriculum. Yep. And let me know if I'm answering anything wrongly, but am I doing okay so far? Okay. The next two courses, Industrial Robotics and Integrated Systems and Introduction to Machining and Prototyping. That would be based out of our STEAM Center, looking at utilizing that space and additional programming in those fields. Communication design for professional settings. This is more of an application. This and the technical communication is more of the application to ELA. So as opposed to doing a literature course or something like that, it's more of the application side for STEAM. So through communication, like professional writing in a workplace. One is the idea would be teamed up with like a Matt Jordan Engineering. So how to do like infographics and doing the writing for the prototyping and things like that. So a little more application based there. Our orchestra, because our orchestra program keeps growing, this is kind of a second year. We do not have a current additional year for our students who've been going through that program. So we do need to add an additional section of that. And then the other one on there is pre-med science. This one we did change. You don't have the newest copy. I'll give you a copy of it. We were changing the requirements for that just to open that up. So these are students who are looking. The difference is this isn't a double block. It's just a single
year-long course, giving more students an opportunity to get into this course who are really maybe interested in that pre-med field. They would have to have either like a health ox or a B or higher in their former like science course or something like that. So, I mean, overall, it's really interesting. It's a lot of fun, a lot of forward thinking and career opportunities for our students, and some great, I think, opportunities that our teachers have put forward and to bring forward to here.
Any questions, comments? Mr. Conley?
Yeah. Do we have anything to move forward in middle school, grade school, in similar fashion, or no?
So not this year. We brought 2 STEAM courses last year. So I think the next goal will be to kind of move there. There's a few things we want to look at. I know this isn't for STEAM specifically, but math specifically, we want to look at some additional math pieces and then look at adding more STEAM. There was another person who was looking at an application between ELA and STEAM as well. They just haven't, so we're on a timeline, right? The goal is here, January, because course books are February and March, I think, is when kids start picking courses. So we're just trying to get them through. I don't know if it would be done in time for students to be ready to go for a course offering that quick around.
No, as it again.
Yeah.
As the years take off here,
Yeah.
and opportunities slide by the window, changes on the door, the wheel moves. So I just would like to see very similar, in fact, parallel in the middle school.
Yeah.
Offerings, something that would be just, these sound great at the high school level. And I'm proud that you guys are looking at these opportunities. Remember, if you do make a mistake, you can always say that one didn't work and move on to the next one, do another one. But, you know, so nobody is going to be mad at doing your best effort and making the investment, because I'm absolutely positive this has to start in the grade school, middle school, to get the ramp up on it. And being fortunate to have coached for several years in the middle school, I saw the development in the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and just getting an attitude towards learning that was productive.
Yeah.
That even just, you know, like I said, even when you don't win the competition, the students really develop. So, so whatever we can do to encourage, I just would like to see every kid do science Olympiad in middle school just to try and have that kind of environment. So however we can do that.
We'll keep trying.
No, it's not a try.
We'll keep going at it. Let's put it that way.
This is a board request.
Yep.
It's not a try.
Yep.
I don't hear that we've done it. So so I guess I can put that on the list of, on my Christmas wish list.
Okay.
So I hear something that sounds that we've done, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Conley?
So I remember sitting up here a while back, and I remember a board member that voted against the bond and didn't want the STEAM Center, and said that there was no sense in trying to build something if we didn't know how it was going to be used. And I think by what I've seen, the use of the STEAM Center, these courses that are coming on board, I couldn't imagine not having a STEAM Center now. And I hope that person is hearing what I'm saying, because that person knows exactly who that person is that said that. And I hope he hears everything I'm saying tonight. And there you go. I guess you build it and it'll come. And that's exactly what's happened. And I'm very appreciative of what you're doing and the use the STEAM Center is getting. I think it's a great thing.
So impressed with the vision on this. Building it, having ideas is one thing, putting it on paper and saying this is what we're gonna do. Amazing stuff that you've done here. So I appreciate everything you've done with this. I think it's the start of amazing new programs. I think it's a good time to start it right about it. So thanks again. I see my daughter and my son in both of these, you know, and that's kind of my wheelhouse and amazing programs. Can't wait to come watch. Thank you.
So I want to thank, obviously, the teachers who are kind of brainstorming this, and obviously the administration who's giving them the idea, say, go build something. We have this. Let's make some time and space on this. So I do want to make sure that it's directed that way, just so you know.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, these are really exciting opportunities that I'm thrilled that our students are going to have the exposure to be able to take these classes And it is absolutely the type of direction that I think we envisioned when we voted to approve the STEAM Center and frankly, the expansion of the STEAM centers in all of our buildings, because it really provided an opportunity for our students that many other districts just don't have the infrastructure and resources and support to expose their students to those. So I'm really excited about that. I do have a couple of those questions. I know that one of the things that was ingrained in me as a board member early in my tenure was when you add new courses, many times that is ultimately it's a sum zero game, and that, especially when we're talking about electives, that it will impact the potential enrollment in some of the other electives as these electives become attractive and the numbers grow. I mean, obviously the switch from regular pre-calc to AP pre-calc, that's not going to be an issue for that. But in terms of the new curriculum and the new programs, has there been an assessment as to where that may impact negatively of the electives that are currently being taken by our students? And then the secondarily to that is, from a staffing standpoint, is it expected that there will be a need for a new staffing to handle some of these courses, or has that been assessed as far as whether we have the existing staffing to be able to teach these classes?
So we never know until students enroll what's going to happen. So I think that's always on our mind about like, where is this going to fall and where is it going to come from? You are correct. It pulls from somewhere. Our idea is that for students who really are loving graphics, this is another leg for them. So whatever maybe they were taking before, or maybe they were dual enrolling before and they're like, nope, I'd rather stay here. So to give you a good answer of where they're coming from, we don't know. For some of these, maybe it's just additional opportunities that we've never had. So maybe they were taking some additional elective that they maybe weren't necessarily interested in. They were just filling a space. That could be some of these, right? So when you look at like introduction to machining and the robotics, right, that might be pulling from somewhere where somebody said, well, just fill a spot. Or it could be people who are really interested in this type of engineering and not in this type. So it could pull from that as well. I don't know that we can predict exactly where it's coming from, but it will be based on students, right? So the other thing is that getting enough students to want to enroll in them, right? So I think one of the things we looked at was, what are we going to name them and what are you actually being taught, to make sure that there was a desire, kind of like what you're saying, that students would want to enroll. So I don't have a good answer to that, but yes, we are aware that it is going to pull from probably mostly some other electives. I don't know if anybody else has a comment.
The only other thing that I would share on that, this would be more on the staffing side of things, is there's always shifts, particularly in the elective area. And one of the things I think is going to be really important for us at the high school level, I think, and the middle school level in particular, is encouraging our students to pursue all of these opportunities that are connected to careers. We have really invested in this as a district. It's part of the strategic plan. And if a student is interested in engineering, my son is one of the areas he might look at next year. Well, he shouldn't be taking a different elective course that has nothing to do with his career pathway. He needs to choose something that's going to help him find his career pathway. And he might not like engineering, but he's going to try Mr. Jordan's class. And he's going to probably take this pre-med class because that's another area. These are awesome classes. So I just think from the parent side, I think we need to be supporting our own children and encouraging them to choose these great options, as opposed to something that might be fun, that they might be able to learn from somebody outside of the school district. So just throwing that out there, I think it's really important. And I think that's a counseling question. I think it's a question we all have to talk about, but we have some unbelievable opportunities and we need to make sure that our kids are accessing them. That's just my 2 cents.
Is it possible to somehow, though the classes don't exist yet, is there a way to do a presentation so that we can see what they can expect in that class, what's going to happen? Because I know my son's picked, my youngest one especially, he's picked a couple classes based on what it's called and thought it was going to do this.
You
and
say
got
you were
in
leaving?
there.
You say you were leaving?
Pardon?
That's a really best idea for you, both of us. Have virtual presentation.
I saved it all to the end.
You did.
So- Yeah, we're studying all week. So-
You know,
But, I mean, my son picked a class, got in it, that's not what I thought it was gonna be. And then was lucky enough to be able to switch into something because there was a seat in another class. Maybe we can come up with a little program, even if it's a video, they can watch something.
You have like short videos, that's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah. That's what's coming. That's a whole end of the stuff. Yeah, great. Why don't you design them all while you're off?
I'll do it.
Next couple
It's a neat idea.
Gavin's on it already. He's like,
That's
okay,
right.
we're coming up with it. So
So I
idea to change our curriculum scheduling day and probably late February, we're gonna take a half a day so kids can visit.
Right.
We're throwing a new idea around with all my leaders in my building to come up with a better way to let kids see stuff before they schedule this stuff.
Great idea.
Yeah, that's the same idea, just to get exposed to it. So I had one thing. So, Dr. Mosher, so when you talked about your help in the field, those are your field engineers, just so you know. And what you need to do is, and I said about making engineers, they'll draw, change it, work it, CAD drawing, whatever. You need to, as we change our ideas on how we're going to run like the middle school, and I encourage you to do the same thing. You need your field engineers. And these guys right here, like Matt we were over at a facility that's, has, I think we had 3 or 4 of our students, Matt, correct? Currently. And we talked about how they all got there. And we're going to talk about those connections and how we change that. Because when I'm gone in 2 years, you won't have those same connections. But the idea is that they have to, this whole big workaround, it's all of us together. That's how they get there. And it was a great opportunity though to visit that facility. And so that's what I would classify them as, field engineers. And I would say they're that important though, and that strategic in the plan. And we can all do this together because it's everybody's gifts that makes it work. Nobody has every gift. And anybody that says they haven't made mistakes, they're fibbing. You know, that's just how life is. Make your best shot at it and go do it. So I appreciate all you guys are doing at high school. It means a lot as we change the mold a little bit, which is hard. It's not easy to do, but it is absolutely necessary. It has to be done. And we don't have any options as things have changed a lot out there for students. So thank you.
One last one.
What else is there?
So, you are probably aware of Diane Shandoval. She runs our Lego program, and they just had it was beautiful. You'd have loved it. We were there. I'm surprised you weren't there, but, oh, it's beautiful. They were in the STEAM Center running. It was huge. It was huge. I sent out a message to her saying, what a great job. So cool. I remember when it first started in the elementaries, there's somebody over there who's going to remember that big time. And I just reached out to tell her how wonderful. And she came back with, I truly appreciate your support, but she's tired and she's not enough to do it. It's gotten so big that she needs help. So I'm throwing it out there. It's a challenge. Get her some help. I'm going to try and volunteer once in a while, but she needs help, and it's a program that we don't want to lose because it's the stepping stone to everything we're talking about today. So just throwing it out there.
Approve the paid academic coaches. They have to apply, and the superintendent has to review it. I mean, they're going to have help. There's no way for the volunteers just to do that.
There must have been 100 people in those pictures. It was amazing.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
I heard it was full.
that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great news, though.
Absolutely.
That's a good problem.
Absolutely.
We can argue about that all day, Ken.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mosher, for that presentation. That moves us to item B, the field trip. Is this
Me again?
Dr. Mosher again?
So in our next board meeting, we're going to look for the approval for our out-of-country field trip. It's a Stratford trip. They've been doing this yearly. They haven't gone the past couple of years, obviously, but they would like to start going again because it's out of the country. We do have to bring it in front of the board for approval. So the information is there. Again, this is one they've been doing, I think, every year. So it just took a little break over the past couple of years, and they'd like to start back up.
Any questions?
This is 8th grade, right?
No.
Is it 8th grade? What is it?
12.
Oh, 12.
This is a senior,
You know
this
what?
is their
My son
AP
did it.
senior
Good.
course. Yeah,
Thank you.
AP senior course. Thank you.
All right. That moves us into item C, the 2019 Bond Phase 5 Contract Awards. Mr. Engelter.
Yep.
I've got a two-prong piece under this today. The first one is obviously the Phase 5 contract awards. We are out to bid right now. We are opening this Friday. Bids are due at 2:00. Bid opening's 2:30 in this room. Public bid opening. This is a culmination of not only the Phase 5 work that's scheduled in the bond that includes like Scranton parking lot and road that we've been talking about for 2-3 years. I don't know. Spencer's parking lot we've talked about ad nauseum. The final pieces, the Beck here, all of the exterior doors will be replaced based on the bond. There's an air handling unit here in this building. But also things that are cleanup, things that we've talked about here before, like the safety platforms around the air handling units at the high school, things that, that we felt were too high when we got quotes. So we decided to put them up in this bid package as well. So all of that is included. There's one thing I forgot on this list I want to put out there. We did put out to bid some window replacements at Miller that are being paid for out of a preschool grant, but it was a good time to just put it into a package so that we got the efficiencies of bidding it at the same time. So that was something that got left off that list there. But the Scranton sports field refurbishments, we talked about those here in a bond committee. And then Malpe, we were talking about replacing redoing the grass fields that are left over there. And the quote we had received was way too high. So we added that in there to get those turf refurbishments done at the same time. So just wanted to let you know that we will be opening. We'll be bringing back for approval in January for trade contract awards. We're just in a real tight time frame because I'd actually like to be getting them approved right now, but they're still out to bid. So we will bring them back in January and ask for that. Any questions on that one?
Could you explain the situation with Clark Construction?
That's a rather open-ended question. What are you shooting for there, Bill?
Well, obviously Bernie is left or is leaving, which probably a good thing he is because I don't think he really helped our district a whole lot. But what's going to be the alternate and how's that going to work and what's the cost?
So as of right now, we have a temporary person started today. Don Rogers is coming in. He's temporary. He's also just transitioning to help us get through until they get somebody on board. I believe they've hired somebody now and he's supposed to start here in, I'm not sure, a few weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah, but doesn't their contract have the bid openings and the estimating and everything moving forward? So without the person involved, how's that going to work?
Well, Don's here right now and to help.
Well, I understand Don's role here right now, but I'm talking to the future. I mean, obviously this is stretched out longer than what was anticipated. I'm assuming we're going to have to pay Clark additional fees to have additional people here.
Right. And
I don't think they've done a stellar job in what they've done so far. I think it's mediocre. We haven't been able to meet any timeframes. Nothing's been on time or per schedule as promised. So, are we willing to continue with them and, have them throw people at us and see what happens? Or are we going to take a stance and demand we want something better, or what's going to happen?
Well, that's a question for another day. I've been working with them. They've got a change order put in at this time for additional staffing because we have run through the time frame that we had. All the projects have been stretched out further than what they originally planned. So there is additional money that they're seeking to move forward with staffing. So
what's the cause of it being extended?
I think there's multiple reasons that it's been extended, Bill. I mean, I think there's been design delays. I think there's been from our end, I think we've held up design. I think there's construction delays. There's a whole myriad.
When have we held up design?
Well, all of like these Scranton and Spencer, those things were all held up for months on that design piece of it.
In regards to what, us making decisions as a board?
Yeah, and board, bond committee. getting back designs that you guys were happy with, that you wanted to go to bid with. So we missed the summer construction for this year. They got pushed to next year.
Well, I understand the
So we
process.
split all of the asphalt work on that. That alone pushed it another summer. So, I mean, there's a myriad of reasons that things have been stretched, but they have been stretched, and they're going to need additional staffing to cover that. Now, if the board wishes to consider something different on the construction manager piece, because you don't want to pay for that additional staffing, you want to bring someone else in, that's a discussion for the board. I'll be bringing back in January that change order for discussion, because, I mean, what they're proposing is through next year, October timeframe, I think, and, and finishing up this current stub period, because they were planning to be done by now. So I'll bring that back, because that's something the board needs to talk about. It's probably $475,000 they're asking for, but we'd put in there, it was already held in that contingency number, a number of about 900,000 earlier. So they were just refining that number now, and they've backed that out, and it's in the contingency now, the difference there. So that's a discussion for the board to have, and if the board, as a whole would like to move on and go somewhere different, so be it. But that's certainly something that's coming at the next meeting. I didn't have it ready for tonight. It wasn't ready for the packet. So more discussion to come on that one.
I think that was going to come regardless of Bernie leaving or not, that they were still going to ask for more money because of the additional time it's going to take.
Sure. I mean,
a quick
it's.
question on Hilton. Just a quick question.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Not a stab at all, but that one has always stuck with me because of the fact that the old was not removed before the new was put in. So they're going to finish the demolition. How much cost is going to go into
Removing that, and how that's going to impact the parking lot that's in? I wouldn't assume that it will, considering the old is mostly in grass.
It is mostly in the ground.
Yeah, so I don't anticipate it being a big issue, but we
If they
also.
reuse the existing bases, there shouldn't be any issues with the parking lot.
Yeah, and we did ask, since the north parking lot was done with new lighting, obviously the old wasn't removed, but we did ask that the east side get matching poles and the LED lights. It wasn't done properly. So, that's something we added and we asked for. So we put that in here, as well as getting that old removal put in there.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
So the second piece, Dr. Outlaw wanted me to put this under this section. In addition, at place for you today, and we did send it out at the end of last week, we are looking to purchase some playground equipment. We have those Friendship Center grants that Janice has applied for at every building to put in some new playground equipment. So we are looking, I'm actually looking tonight to get some approval to move forward with ordering, because based on the lead time on this equipment, they're telling me now if I order this week, we're talking about delivery the week of May 12th. And, this is a grant that's ends on June 30th. So they need to get the equipment ordered so that we can get it actually installed by the end of June. What I'm looking for, and I've provided you with all of the quotes that we got, and we did this through a competitive bidding cooperative. What I'm looking to do is move forward. We do have grant money on each of these to cover all of this stuff. It's kind of a twofold thing. Janice had put these Friendship Center grants together to add some more playground equipment. That was great. At the same time, we were talking about what we were going to do in these places. We were having conversations. Dr. Outlaw had contacted me. We had some concerns from some parents with children with mobility issues, that our playgrounds aren't necessarily as accessible as they would be, and they're not necessarily able to play with the others as they probably should be allowed to. So it was kind of a twofold mission in not only spending these grant dollars to bring in some additional equipment, but to make sure that equipment was more accessible for those kids in wheelchairs. So we did take those two things in mind when we started researching this stuff and pulling together what we were going to do and what equipment we wanted to put in and what it could fit and where it could fit. So we did take the time to get this all laid out for this. I hope that stuff is good. The one thing at Place, I did give you a new Hilton because I went back and we had some additional grant dollars left for the Hilton building. So you'll see that at Place today, I did give you a new Hilton that adds some additional equipment so that we could spend that grant down and just add some more stuff in there. Each building, you'll see the amounts are different, but that's based on, all of the grant awards were based on what the building is licensed for under the Child Care Licensing Act. That's why the amounts differ. The only other thing I want to tell you is that Malpe was looking to add some additional equipment because they have very limited playground equipment there. So the building PTO itself was looking to add some in. So the amount that I do have in for Malpe does exceed the grant amount, but we've already have a commitment from the PTO of about $30,000. So, and they're anxious to give that to us. I told them, hold on a sec, let's get let's move forward with the board before we do that. But they are kicking in an amount. So when I bring this in January, if you guys are wanting to do it, then I will also probably be bringing a donation amount from the Malpe PTO to cover the balance.
So is the money that you're asking for here over and above the grant money? Or is just the total?
It's the total. The only portion that's over the grant amount would be Malpe.
And the PTO is going to pick that up?
The PTO is going to cover it.
So we're not taking any of this out of the bond money
We're
or
not taking
anything
any of
else?
this out of the bond, none of this out of the general fund. It's all covered by the grant dollars that she applied.
So I'd like to put a motion on the table right now to just go ahead and approve it so he can get it ordered if it's not going to cost us anything.
It's fine with me.
This motion, Ms. Trombley, support by Ms. Reed.
I
Any discussion? Mr. Collins, okay.
I was waiting for that because I knew.
Co-support.
I knew she'd be right on that. Right.
Any other discussion? So I just have just a point of clarification in looking at the material, because the updated report that you gave us, Mike, it's for the not to exceed $422,602, referencing the tot spot. And it talks about the attached quote, but there's only one quote for $99,000 that was attached to it. So
Yes.
is that what we're talking about, the $422,602?
Yeah, late last week, we sent all of the quotes for all of the buildings electronically. So if you remove the old Hilton and add in the new Hilton, I believe the total comes to the 422.
But so the tot spot is included in that, or is the tot spot in addition to that, but still subject to the grant?
No, tot spots, Miller is included in all of those.
Okay.
Yeah, so it covers Miller, Spencer, Hilton, Hawkins, and Horning, as well as Malpe.
Okay.
And it's installed?
Installed, yes.
We're not going to get a bill next year, are we?
For,
The grant that didn't take place?
no, we've already got the money in. Yeah, it's good.
So you won't be here.
The easiest, you gotta give me the easiest one at the end, huh?
Yeah, the easiest one.
All right, all those in favor of the motion, signify by aye. Aye. Any nays? That passes 7-0.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. That concludes all of the items on our agenda for this evening. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday and a healthy and safe New Year, and look forward to seeing everyone in 2023 and still see you hopefully around the. All right. And our next meeting is the organizational meeting on Monday, January 9, 2023 at 7 p.m. And this meeting is adjourned.